Let's see what happens. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Sharon here. You can, with Sarah Arrow, you can see my picture, but not my video because I'm having a little bit of internet problems. Here, let me see what happens if I put my video on. Nope, I do not match up with my camera. You can hear me talking. Whatever I said, I just said a little while ago. All right, I'm going to stop this and we're going to just dive in. So just look at my picture for now. And Sarah can make believe that she's me. All right, so this is going to be all about Think Like a CEO, our new release. And Sarah and I are going to be going through, rather than just going into the program itself straight away, we are going to talk a little bit about our own challenges that we had from going from basically a small solo business owner to being the CEO of our business and actually growing it. So, hi Peter. What did Peter said? As easy, you're not a cat, huh? At least I'm not a cat. Okay, right. Yeah, I don't have a cat picture. That is me. You can make believe I'm talking. Hi, Jane. Nice to see you too. All right, so we're going to talk about all these issues of how we, Sarah and I, went from solo to CEO. And for me, just to start with, when I first started out, I really did try to do everything myself. I felt like I had to do everything myself, the tech, the content, the marketing, everything. So I really got stuck and I couldn't grow and I was stressed out because I was trying to do everything. And part of that is I felt like I had to, because I had to learn it and do it all myself. That was who I was. I was the business. But I think it was also that I never wanted to manage other people. I never wanted to be a CEO. I went online, started my business so that I could just have the lifestyle of having my own business and having all that flexibility. But the problem there is you lose that lifestyle and lose that flexibility if you don't start thinking like a CEO. So it's a catch-22 there. You kind of have to. And I didn't want to manage people. I felt like it was going to be too much work. I didn't want to hire because, there's a big risk there of investing and then not getting the payoff from that. And also, how do you control the quality unless you're micromanaging somebody? The first person I hired was a little bit of a disaster because I felt like I was spending more time delegating and telling her what to do and trying to control it and edit things. And really, it was my fault for not hiring the right person, not giving the right direction. And then when I did it again, it really, then suddenly my life turned around, the business turned around, and that's when it could take off because I was able to pull myself out of controlling everything and doing everything and more focusing on marketing and strategy and still the quality control, but the direction of the business. And Sarah, I think you had kind of a similar experience, didn't you? Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted myself as the dog was going nuts because I think she just wants everyone to get this. She thinks it's essential. And I've said, there's a time and a place, and it's not right at the beginning when Mummy and Auntie Sharon are talking. But, German Shepherds, they never listen. And, that's a fine example of outsourcing an important job like guarding the house to the wrong person, or in this case, the wrong dog. Yeah, initially when we had the transport business, because it was transport, we outsourced various driving roles. And the brilliant thing about the transport was all the vans had trackers. So we could track them through the software and see exactly what they were doing at any given time. But the problem with that was we had the software open all of the time. So we were watching what other people were doing rather than having our time freed up to do other things. So we learned from that as wonderful as the tracking software is, and the fact that we can see where any one given vehicle is at any one specific time, the truth is we kind of only have to open it when we've got a problem, or when we're checking something and we may be checking a timesheet or something. It's not to be open just because we've got a spare 5 minutes and we want to know what's going on. We have to trust that the people we've hired are doing what we want them to do and they're driving safely. And we weren't doing that. It took us probably a good 3 months to realise how much time we were wasting just looking at what people were doing. And I know that sounds silly. You might have tracking for your VA where you can check in on them, or they may have time tracking where you can check in and see what's going on. But if you're doing that all of the time, you're not doing the things that your time is freed up to do. You're doing something in addition. So that was a bit of a learning curve. And in this business, in the marketing and the consultancy side of things, it was sometimes we felt that we had to do everything in terms of putting our content out there. I would schedule it rather than allowing somebody else to schedule it. I would schedule it by hand because I've read an article that says scheduling by hand gets you 5 extra people seeing your content, rather than investing in a tool that would just put it out there and I only have to do it once. I was not using my brain properly. And I think part of that comes with experience, and part of it comes with kicking yourself up the backside, and part of it that sort of says, do you really wish to carry on like this? And I think you mentioned that when we were talking in the green room prior.
Yeah, it was how badly do you really want to grow? How badly do you want to pull yourself out of doing everything yourself or obsessing over every little detail, and being able to grow your business and relinquish a little control? How badly do you want it that you're willing to take those steps and change your mindset and learn some new skills? And if you're perfectly happy where you are doing it all yourself, then fine, that's great. And there are plenty of people like that. I really wanted to move beyond that, and I wanted that freedom, and I realized the freedom of being able to go off and focus on new things and strategy and travel and family, all that stuff actually meant I did need to change my mindset and get that CEO boss mindset. And it also meant, even though there are some things that I still enjoy doing in the business, I can't do it all. I had to learn some new skills. I couldn't be the one creating all the content, all the products. And someone had said to me, and this helped a lot, having a mentor and other people giving me that kick in the pants and saying, look, you want to grow, you have to spend more time marketing. You can't be doing all the other stuff. You can't be playing around with a website and tweaking every little thing. And believe me, I still go back and do that sometimes. And then you give me a kick in the pants, like, stop that. You can't be doing that yourself. But it's hard. You tend to slip back and need that reminder, that kick in the pants of you need to be spending, like, I think someone had said, is 80% of the time on marketing and 20%, the 80-20 rule, as the leader of your business, looking at the strategy, the marketing, the planning. And it's very freeing. And you were saying, Sarah, that one of the things you felt was it might be being a woman.
Yeah, we're expected to not only have it all, but know how to have it all. Juggle the house, juggle the business, juggle the kids. And to me, it was always a matter of keeping as many balls in the air as possible, knowing that one would break. It was just determining which one would break at the most convenient time for it to break. For example, juggling the business ball couldn't break if the children ball was broken. I still had to juggle that and the home if the children needed sorting. And it wasn't until I had that epiphany, and I know it's really crazy, it was an outsourcing epiphany. And it was, who am I kidding that I can run this business, be a great mum. My daughters are martial arts champions. How can I spend all of the time supporting them and training and running them all over the place and still do the housework? Because the house looked like a wreck. Right?
Housework. That's the first thing that you outsource, that you delegate to someone.
Absolutely. And there I was thinking that I could have it all, and that somehow I was less of a woman, less of a brilliant mother, less of everything if I didn't clean my own untidy house up. Now I have my woman come in. Well, I don't because we're in lockdown, but when she comes back, I'll be greeting her with a masked hug, a bouquet of flowers, everything else. And just having that time, knowing that I didn't have to run around hoovering up. At the time, we had laminated floors, and what a disaster they were. They needed mopping. We had a Rottweiler that every time I was trying to record something would run from one end of the lounge to the other on laminated floors. So you'd hear this sort of and if you've ever seen a Rottweiler run, you know they don't run like normal dogs. They sort of lope, and it made this awful scraping sound on the laminate floor that would come on in all of my calls. And to make matters worse, the dog would sleep on my feet when I was recording webinars and would snore on the webinars. So outsourcing the cleaning meant the dog had a friend, didn't have to sleep on my feet and snore through the webinars. It meant that somebody else was talking to the dog, and the dog didn't need so much attention from me. And it also meant that I could focus on doing things like being with the girls after school, picking them up and dropping them off to school, and doing all of the things that I felt I should be doing. But I would still get digs off of my friends and family. You know, who does she think she is with a cleaner, not doing her own cleaning and blah, blah, blah. And whenever I hired a babysitter because I had a big event to do in London, or when I had lunch with Guy Kawasaki, I hired a babysitter because Kevin was out that day. And people would say, why you got a babysitter for the kids? Couldn't you reschedule? And it was almost as if I was committing some horrible crime just because I was putting my children with a babysitter for a couple of hours rather than looking after them myself. And that took a long time in realizing that the mother is separate from the businesswoman. And as much as people like to say, oh, you know, you are your brand, you know, we have my dog on these calls. We have every now and again a child burst in, but they're not the centerpiece of the Sarah and Sharon and Content Sparks show, are they? You know, the courses are the centerpiece. And if my dog keeps on barking, I have to put her on mute, whether she likes it or not.
Yeah, it's there's definitely the mindset in there of even if you're a coach, you are not the only part of your business. Being this whole thing about thinking like a CEO isn't just about outsourcing. That is one part, which is really about delegating and hiring. But there's so much more. First, you have to get your mindset right that this isn't a hobby. As soon as you start being the CEO of your business, you start running it very differently. And you have to learn how to make decisions, make them quickly. I am echoing out of your speakers a little bit. Sorry, Sarah. And Jane is saying right there that she has 2 VAs, so best decision ever. And having those VAs, you now have a business, not just you being a service provider, freelancer, whatever it is, running around with like a chicken with your head cut off and trying to do everything. Now you can focus on the strategy. And I know, Jane, you've grown your business already leaps and bounds and are looking at all these different ventures you could do because you have a team now supporting you and you're thinking in those terms, thinking in the strategic terms. And the other benefit, which Sarah and I were talking about before, is on the creativity side. So there's the decision-making side of things, and I'll go through this a second in the course, in the slides. There's the decision-making part of it, of being able to make the strategic decisions and having other people to do some of the little ones. There's the delegating, like we were just talking about, having a team and outsourcing. And then there's innovation. It's very, very hard to be creative and innovate in your business if you're doing everything yourself. As soon as I started hiring a team, I found that it was so much easier to stay ahead of the competition, because I have to keep my edge. People copy things, the industry changes. My goal is always to be the premium course provider, brandable course provider of pre-written courses. And the only way I can do that is to always be thinking ahead. And now I got a team who has a different perspective, who can give ideas. Sarah, I have, who give ideas that I wouldn't have thought of if I was just sitting in my own little cave working on stuff all by myself. Instead, I'm kind of freed up to be more creative, to talk to more customers and get ideas from them, to keep on the lookout, to experiment with different things as well. That all helps as well. And that's all part of thinking like a CEO. And as Peter was just saying, being a CEO is when you stop working in the business and you start working on the business. And Jane was basically saying, I'm in my business. You're the opposite now. You're not in your business, you're working on it. Right. What is it? I do the 250 euro jobs, not the 20 to 30, the 250 pound jobs. Aren't you doing euros, Jane, in France? Yeah, you're doing the high level stuff, not the small ones, even though you can do them, certainly capable. That you shouldn't be spending your time that way. You should be the leader doing those other jobs. So that's the other thing that you have to kind of pull your mindset away from. Even though you might be able to do some of the things better than someone on your team, that doesn't mean you should be doing them. So there's also the balance of what do you leave as good enough versus focusing on the things that are most important in the business. Have you ever had that, Sarah, as well?
Yeah, I still have that. And how Kevin dealt with me, because he did deal with me, because I was, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. He says, right. He says, choose a website. And at the time I had about 50. I'm like, okay. Well, what's this? Choose a website. So I chose a website. And he said, you can create the content for this website and this website alone. And you can create courses related to this website and this website alone. But all of the others, you get VAs to upload content, you outsource the writing, you do. All of the others are outsourced. You have one that you can play with that is your own, that is your voice. All of the rest. And do you know what that did for me? That streamlined things. I no longer had 50. I got it down to about 25. Yet prior to that, I couldn't tell you, I couldn't part with any of them. But when I was like having to invest my cold hard cash, I was like, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. And then I got a streamlined set of sites that I wanted to develop and grow, and that I could outsource the content creation for and to do things. And some of them, I really had really great ideas around courses, but as they started to grow and their email list started to grow, I realized I was better affiliate in, because I didn't really want to do courses for that. I wanted to do the courses for Content Nitro, the Online Visibility Academy, and our Rebel Business Academy. I didn't actually want to set up a sports academy and talk about sporting things. So I was much better off being an affiliate and building those lists and acting as an affiliate rather than being everything to them. But it took Kevin to say, you can only have one, for me to, oh, okay then, and focus on that one.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things I've also heard from people, and that made a difference for me, was that streamlining. And until you step back, it's hard to see where you can streamline unless you have someone with that objective view for you. And that's part of being a CEO too, is looking at your business and saying, am I really doing the right things here? Am I making the right decisions? Am I doing the right tasks in here? And how am I going to streamline? And somebody coming in and saying to you, okay, step back a second here, and simplifying your business. So being a CEO means that you can make those decisions. Otherwise you get stuck in and start running off in different directions and doing whatever comes up on your to-do list as the next thing.
Yeah, you become very reactive rather than proactive, and that's not in a position where you want to be. Anyway, Sharon, we're at the 20-minute mark. Let's open these packets up so everybody can see inside.
Yeah, I did promise you I would do that. Okay. I'm going to head over to the screen. Let me just hide this banner. And sorry again that I can't be on camera here. We did try, and the Wi-Fi where I am. I'm in Colorado, by the way, at the moment, because we are moving here. But that's it. Here, think like a CEO. This is just the sales page. You can see, hopefully, tell me at any point if you can't see something, that we have this on launch, right? So that's just the sales page. And I will open up, actually, to start with some of the graphics. So these are all graphics that are in various places in the course, right? So there's, it's in the course book, it's in the slideshow, and they cover a lot of the key points. So I can walk you through, very high level. The key parts of thinking like a CEO is both mindset and skill set. So the mindset we go through, I'll show you a couple of slides on that. And then the skill set is making decisions. So being able to make decisions quickly and making the right decisions. A lot of solo entrepreneurs and startups, there's always decisions to make constantly, every day, lots of little ones, but also the big ones. And the key to really growing is being able to make those little ones quickly, or outsource them, or really delegate them in that sense, leaving it to other people who can make those, and then you focusing on the big ones. So we also give a process around that. Then there is the delegating. Delegating itself has a whole process that you need to learn how to do well and efficiently. Otherwise, you end up spending all your time delegating and micromanaging versus being that CEO. And then innovating. You need to be, again, as the leader, constantly promoting innovation, finding time to do that innovation yourself as well. So those are the key areas that we go through in the course that you're going to go through and be able to teach as well, since this is brandable and you don't have to do the whole course creation yourself as well. So there is the mindset, and it goes through some of this around the keys to being a CEO. I'm not going to go through reading off all these slides because they are in the course, but there's a whole skill set in there, or mindset things in there, and an assessment for people to be able to assess how they are, and the different areas of strategy that you have to focus on as a CEO, some questions to ask yourself, some of the reasons why you're not doing it. And these are some of the things Sarah and I just talked about as well. Too many choices, lack of confidence, fear of getting it wrong, fear of what others will think, that kind of thing, if you're not doing it all. So there's a lot in there on the mindset part. And then there's this whole decision-making process. So we give a very simple decision-making process here, and that you can use for all your decisions. And then there's some suggestions for other things. So we're not going through 10 different decision-making processes. Sure, you can do a SWOT analysis, but as a entrepreneur with tons of decisions to make, it's best to have one simple process that you're going to teach your audience and that you can go through yourself, which is defining the decision, alternate course of action, doing a reality check, choosing an alternative, and implementing it, and then reviewing it and evaluating it. Really simple. That's how you make quick decisions as an entrepreneur. As you're growing and focusing on more strategic, bigger picture, as your business gets bigger, you can try out some of the other ones too. So this course is going to be focusing on going from that smaller size, the solo, the startup, the entrepreneur, to becoming that CEO of your business and growing it. There's some things around reasons why you might not be delegating, how you can decide what to delegate, and a process for that. Very simple, straightforward. You don't want this to be a course on extensively on outsourcing and delegating. We have courses on that if you want to go more in depth. But for starters, you want to give people a very simple process for delegating and some reasons why it doesn't work. And then I'm just looking at this, why you'd want to do it. And then there's some information on innovating. What are some things, ways to innovate, and a process for going through and doing that as well. So I don't want to go into all of that because it is in the course. There are ideas for that. And then there's, final action planning and stuff. Sarah, do you want me to just quickly show the things that are different in here versus our usual?
Can you show the worksheets?
Okay. So typically in all our courses at this level, this is this beacon level course, there's student materials, instructor materials, or slideshow, speaking notes, and then just a little bit of lead gen. Our big lead gen materials are in the Blaze packages. So this is your complete course for teaching and doing videos. And in the student materials, we have the usual action guide, right? I know you can't see this that well, so I'll open up one or two things. Action guide has worksheets and stuff for all the different action steps in the course. But then there's also these 4 other kind of worksheets in here. I'll open up the first one on each of those areas: the mindset, decision-making, delegating, and innovation. And the first one is this CEO checklist. So you have a mindset checklist that's a few pages, nice and simple. Where are you? So it gives you a pulse check. And I'll show you something bigger in the expansion pack if you want to be able to do something bigger than this. And then there's the decision. There's a worksheet for each one of those processes that I mentioned. So there's the 5-step decision-making, 5-step delegating, and 5-step innovation or creativity process. And there's a worksheet for each of those with that graphic. So these are really great to go along with the course, and there's something that you can hand out that someone can copy and use every time they want to make a decision. So we didn't include these just in the action guide because it's something that your students are going to want to use over and over again. So that's here, let me see if I can open up one more. My computer's a little slow here. This is the frustration of working and traveling at the same time. You don't always get the internet that you want. So you can see it's a similar thing. It's a worksheet. Actually, this is a bit longer. It's 7 pages that go, but it's the 5 steps for the delegation process. And then there's the same for the creative process. So that's a little bit different than our regular things. Okay. You want to add anything on that before I go on?
No, because I'll add my part when we get to the bonuses.
Well, there's a bonus that comes with the course, and there's a bonus with the expansion pack. But I'd like to show the expansion pack first. And this because there's a couple things in there I think that everyone's going to get really excited about and be able to use. Expansion packs are not essential for delivering the course itself. So there's Think Like a CEO is a self-contained course. Everything's in there for you to be able to deliver it. The expansion pack is extras that can enhance the course, be bonuses, maybe a lead magnet, really help accelerate results. There's a little bit for promotion in there as well. So I'm going to show you first the assessment, and then I think you, Sarah, have the journal to open.
Yep.
So then the assessment, this is a more detailed, longer assessment where people can see where they stand on the different skill sets and mindset for thinking like a CEO. It comes in a Word doc, and it also comes in a spreadsheet. I already have this open. I'm going to open the spreadsheet. And if you can kind of see on the screen, there are several tabs in here. So you could do this as well as the instructions. All right, so you could give this even as separate assessments. The first one is the mindset. So you can see there's statements, and you rate yourself on a score on how you are on each one. And then at the bottom, it'll auto-calculate your result in a little box. There's a formula in there. And then you have an evaluation, your summary of what each thing is, and a little conclusion. So you can see how you're doing. So this sort of thing can even be a lead magnet for the course so people see how they're doing, and then they want to take your course. You could even just use the mindset one. And then there's the skill set one. So you could have several. Then there's the delegation skills one, same thing. There are more questions on, depending on what the skills are, the skill area. And then there's the innovation skills. So that's the complete assessment. Again, this is in the expansion pack. And then there's a journal as well that is different, because that's a very, very long PowerPoint that can be converted. Actually, I'll just let you talk about it, but that's where people can actually start applying and planning how they're going to address all these different areas. So Sarah, do you want to share your screen, and I'll switch that over once I can see it on here?
Just getting it right now.
Okay.
Can you see it?
I'm going to add it to the stream so you can see it, and now we can see it.
All right. So at the beginning of the journal, we have what our fonts are and our recommendation for selling it. Journals are a big thing. People do invest good money in order to get a good journal, and these are good journals that are put together for you. We recommend that you print it in black and white and shades of grey, so it's still stylish, but not huge to print, because let's face it, a A4 planner, which this one is, there's 120 pages in it. Mm-hmm. And to have this printed in full colour is going to probably set you back $14 of the $14.99, and you actually want to make some money with your planner. Mm-hmm. So firstly, we've got where they can personalise it and they can say who it belongs to. And then the sections to put a bit about you and a bit more about you. And I will also take you to the very last page, right down the end. We give you the Canva link to put in your course mock-up. Mm-hmm. So that you're not just saying, here, buy my journal, it resolves everything for you. You're inviting them to your course, and you've got a nice visual that you can open up in Canva, which is free, and you can add in your pack shots for your course and your screen elements. You could perhaps, some of the slides that Sharon's shown us of the images within the course, you can colour those yourself very quickly to your brand colours, save them as a JPEG, upload them into Canva, and pop them onto the little screen here and the handout images, so that it looks really visually appealing. So it's designed, your journal, to not only be brilliant for the person that's purchased it, but also for them to take the next steps with you. Mm-hmm. Now we've got a nice image of somebody who's thinking like a CEO, but a little bit nervous, and that comes from Pexels. If she doesn't match your branding, you can swap it out for a guy or a picture of you. You don't have to keep that picture. With Pexels, please check. We're pretty sure that you can print this one, because we make a point to look for ones that you can use. Mm-hmm. You don't have to leave the credit. We're leaving it here so that you know where it's come from. So you can customize that, think like a CEO page there, and then jump into the mindset. And mindset with your people is a pretty tough tackle. So we've got lots of gorgeous mindset elements to help even the most resistant of people help them grow. So they're not in a fixed mindset space, but in a growth mindset space. And we've included every 2 or every 3 pages a reflections area. So they can do all the mindset work and then have a space to write out how they feel after they've done that. And you can change that from reflections to something that fits your branding. You can adjust the language as you go through. And this is really one of the best journals I think Content Sparks has created. It is magnificent. And like I say, it's 120 pages. So when this drops on somebody's doormat, having come through the letterbox, they're going to know that it's arrived. They're not going to put it aside. And you've got a nice cover on it. You can have the glossy effect. I recommend you use glossy because of the feel factor. People are reluctant to throw them away.
Can you, sorry, Sarah, to interrupt, but can you explain how this works in terms of making it a printable that arrives on someone's doorstep versus them having to print it out on their own printer?
Yeah, once you've done your adjustments, the next thing you do is to save it as a PDF. And when you've saved it as a PDF, you can then go over to kdp.amazon.com and set up a free account there. Once you've set up your free account, you have to add in your bank details and so on. The next thing you can do is it says, what do you want to do? And there's an option to upload a Kindle book or make a paperback book. And you click on the make a paperback book, and Amazon will walk you through the steps. It's very easy to follow. The hardest part is writing your description. When it says, what's your book about? You tend to say something like mindset book, but actually you need to say a bit more. You know, this is a mindset journal. It's aimed at people who've started a business who want to grow into a CEO. It will help you make the right decisions, increase your mindset into a growth capacity rather than a fixed capacity. It helps you become more productive. It helps you become more creative and innovative. So you really have to describe everything that's contained in your journal, but you've been through it to edit it and personalize it, so that won't be too hard. Then it will ask you for your keywords, so you can say mindset journal, CEO journal, and those kinds of phrases. And then you just go through and it will ask you to upload the PDF. So you upload the PDF that you've saved this PowerPoint document into, and then it will ask you to upload the cover. And the cover, you can use Amazon's one, but we don't recommend that. In your pack, when you purchase this, you will have a cover that's Amazon KDP sized. So you can add a little bit of text. I think we've got text already in to placeholder it, haven't we, Sharon?
Yeah, we've got placeholder in there, and we also have it in two sizes, in A4 and in US letter size, so that you can pick what makes the most sense for you and where you're selling it, like UK versus somewhere else.
Yeah. And you can then put your branding on it, and you've even got a space left for the ISBN bar. And that is added by Amazon for free, or you can buy your own, which I believe are around $250. I tend to use the Amazon ones because I only sell them print on demand from Amazon. If I was tempted to sell them elsewhere, if I got one that was really selling well, it's worth the $250 investment to sell it in other places too. So it really is a quick and simple process. And then once you've uploaded the cover, you just save it, and it then goes for manual approval. Once you've done a couple, the approval process speeds up. At the moment, lots of people are adding journals, so it is hard for people to get a fast approval. When we did the very first one for Content Sparks, I put it in on the 24th of September, and on the 4th of November, it was approved. So it took nearly 6 weeks to get approved. Subsequent journals have been really fast, but that first one took 6 weeks.
Yeah. And I just put the URL because Gail was asking what the website was. So we're talking about Kindle Direct Publishing, Amazon, which is where you can put the guided journal that's in the expansion pack after you've branded it and made any edits and saved it as a PDF. You can upload it to KDP and sell it there as a printed. You cannot sell it on Kindle. That's against the terms for any kind of brandable content. But you can do it as a printed physical journal, and that's where you're really getting value, because you can sell it, and you also have that link. Well, it doesn't work as a clickable link, but you have the picture at the end with your URL for your course. So you're going to get leads from that as well.
Yeah.
So, and then people have that reminder, and it goes really well with the course. So you could send it to your students so that you, once they've actually paid for the course, for anyone who is enrolled, you can send them that as an extra resource bonus. It's really going to help them stay accountable and implement and get results from the course.
If you're sending it to your students, I recommend that you change the back part for your one-to-one coaching.
Yes.
The upsell from the course.
Yes. Good point.
Yeah. And we've got a nice 3 or 4 pages at the end for your final reflections, and of course the innovation skills. And what I would say is it's really easy to duplicate pages in PowerPoint. You can just go right click and then duplicate side, and an identical one pops in. So some of the information you've got in the expansion pack and in the action guide, like the worksheets, you could actually pop into this journal and make it really, really powerful. You don't have to, but I thought to myself when I saw them, oh, I know how I'm going to make my journal really different. I'm going to take some of these CEO quiz, the mindset quiz, and measure them beforehand by putting it right at the beginning. So right up where we've got our lovely girl here. The next bit I'm going to put in is I'm going to answer these quiz and measure where you are. And then we talk about the mindset, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go back to the very end bit, past the innovation, and sorry.
So wait, are you talking about the assessment now?
Yeah, I'm talking about the assessments in the quiz. I'm then going to pop one in at the very end and get them to see how much their mindset has grown. Do the mindset quiz now. How much has it grown? Compare it to the first one.
So can I tell them about the quiz bonus?
Oh, yeah. Go on then.
Okay, so all right. Do I dare turn my camera on for a second? Let's see what happens. Oh, I'm almost.
You're in sync.
Okay, so I am here. We're just having Wi-Fi where my mouth and my words were way off. So what I was going to say is we talked about the fact that there's an expansion pack that goes with the course, not essential, big extra value though. And in there is this assessment where they're asked, where there are questions to help them assess their mindset, their decision-making, their delegation, and their creativity, their innovation skills. And as a bonus for getting both, what we've done is something a little different. And we've set up that assessment in Thrive Quiz Builder. Now, I know not everybody has Thrive Quiz Builder, but it's something that you should consider getting if you have a WordPress site, because it's a very easy way to set up quizzes on your site. And even if you don't use any of the other tools in Thrive, the cost of it is still cheaper than going and signing up for one of these quiz platforms. Plus, you're going to get a whole bunch of other stuff. So, you know, not to sing too much the praises of Thrive, but we're using Thrive now. I love it. And if you don't have it, you can certainly set up that assessment on any other quiz platform as well, whether it's, Lead Quizzes or something, or even possibly in Google, one of their things. But we did create it already as an export in Thrive that you can then import to Thrive Quiz Builder. And that's what Sarah is talking about, that she's going to use that quiz, that assessment, inside the journal. Is that right, what you were saying? In different places, send them to the landing page for that particular section. So when they're in the mindset section, you can send them to the quiz. So if you don't have Thrive Quiz Builder, you're not using that, think about setting up that assessment in some sort of quiz platform where you can send them at different points to check how they're doing, or before a module. So before you do the mindset module, you could have that bit of the assessment and have them do that, and then do it again afterwards after they've had some time to implement, right?
It's a great way to measure their growth. If mindset is really hard, it's one of those intangible things that people think that they've not grown, but actually they've grown miles. But if you get them to do it before they've done any of the course, and then after it, you can see the difference and they can see the difference. And of course, once they can see the difference in their results, they'll start to feel that they've achieved something. So I think it's a really essential way, if you're going to do this program, that you measure. Look, the dog's barking. She agrees. She knows nothing about mindset. She's got the...
And Jane did say that there is if you do have LearnDash, another platform, there's a built-in quiz function. So you don't have to use Thrive if you don't have it, but we just tried to make it a little bit easier for you as well for that. So, but there's so much in that expansion pack that I don't want you to get too overwhelmed there. Oh, because there is a Trello board in there as well. So there's that digital version of the action guide, which is going to help with results. And there's some social media images too. So I think you've had a lot. Any questions so far? I don't want to cut you off too much. Oh, wait, there is one question. A local business coach would love to know who you are. Why can't you upload to Kindle? Anything that's brandable, private label rights, stuff that other people have as well, is against the terms of Amazon Kindle to load. You cannot sell it on Kindle. All right, so that's against their terms. You would have to completely 100% rewrite everything. So it would just be the basis. All right, so I hope that's clear on that. And you don't want to put something up there that everybody else has anyway.
If the person is going to write in it because it's a journal, how are they going to write in it if it's a Kindle? And I've got one of those Galaxies that's got a pen, but I don't think it can write in the Kindle. I'm going to try it later just to be sure, because I may be missing a trick here. But
I think so.
I think the other thing is I know that usability comes up frequently when we say this, but we're hardwired that when we write something, we remember it better and we're more likely to act upon it. So if somebody's purchased a journal or you've sent it to somebody and they start using it, then that's going to be helping them make really big shifts in their thinking and getting results, all of which help you look like the superstar that you are.
Yep. And we've talked a lot about accountability and the impact on that. Things like the journal are really going to help with that. But also just in the course itself, the action guide and all the worksheets there are going to help. And then it's going to be up to you to keep them accountable with your extra coaching, the things that you add to the course that are you uniquely, your insights, but your follow-ups, any live elements, Q&A, things like that you make sure you do to make this course unique and help people really implement it and stay accountable. Those are the little things, breaking it up, doing, following up on each activity, each action step. So even if you're automating this in terms of putting it online as an online course with a video and stuff, think about adding that extra stuff, adding the journal, checking in with people after each section. And you can automate a lot of that too. You can automate emails that are following up and checking in on people. So what else? Anything else you want me to show while we're at it? There is course sales page bonus as well, sales page copy. So I don't want to forget about that. All right. Just checking to see if there are any other questions. So not to just skip over that. There is that bonus for the main course too, because it's pretty important. Everybody always asks for sales page copy. So we've done it as a template where there's placeholders for you to add your own little stories, but it has the basics in there. So it guides you through what to add, and then you can just add it into if you have Thrive, you can put it into Thrive Architect, as we were talking about Thrive Quiz Builder. I also use Lead Pages, which is great. I'm sure that Jane, you said LearnDash has the quiz function. I'm sure they have great sales page builders too, or anything you want. But the starting point is there. And that's all just during the launch. So if you want to grab all that, you definitely need to go with that. There are not articles, Peter, to go with this particular course. It's one of our mid-size ones. We call it Beacon level. So it's a little less expensive than the other and does not come with those extra blog posts and stuff on that. But I can add it as a request for the next content pack that we do, because we've been periodically putting together these packs of blog posts and emails related to different courses. So it wouldn't be in the next one, but I can add it as an option for our writer to do some articles for that as well. All right, that would be in a little while. You're also asked, how would you deliver this by live stream? Goal, get them into a ticket, private membership, paid site. Well, you would only do you wouldn't do this as a free live stream, but go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, you know that wonderful spreadsheet that Sharon shared? I would take that and I would do it as, I think there were 4 elements on the spreadsheet. I haven't opened that. I've opened up all of the Word documents and all the PowerPoints. I just haven't opened up the Excel spreadsheet. They're not my thing. But I would take that and I would save each element, like the mindset one, I would take off and make that one. I would take the delegation skills and make that one. And the innovation skills, I'll make that one. And the one that I can't remember, I would make that one. So I've got 4 separate spreadsheets.
Innovation.
Innovation, sorry. So I would have 4 separate spreadsheets, and on my live stream you'll see there's a little blurb above the assessment, and I would say, hey, it's Sarah, I'm here today. I want to know how you score on this mindset quiz, because I'm pretty sure you're not thinking like a CEO. Now, the benefits to thinking like a CEO are you earn as much as a CEO does. Instead of acting like an employee and earning employee wages, you earn CEO wages, which are definitely better. And I will carry on in this vein, as you can see, making it up as I go along. And then I would say, I'm going to do this quiz for you. If you message me, I will send you the thing back. So make sure you've got your assistant on hand to reply to messages with a link to the spreadsheet. And then I'd say, question 1, what's your score out of 5, with 1 being total loser, can't ever do it, to 5 being total superstar, do it all of the time? 1 to 5, how are you for jumping out of bed joyfully in the morning? Write it down. And then I would get them to write it down. And then I would go through it, and then I would score it with the people, and I would get them to comment with their score. Are you a 1, a 3, a 5? And I would get them to answer. And then we would add it all up, and I would say, okay, if you scored this, you really need my training. Okay? Can't convince you enough right now how much you need it, because you haven't done as brilliantly as I thought you would. So this training really would be fantastic for you. Everybody who's got 5, you say, fantastic, you've got all 5s. Do you want to be a guest instructor on my training? Because you are clearly nailing it and blah, blah, blah. So you've got the opportunity to get guest instructors and bonuses. And then I'll say, and tune in tomorrow to see how you do on innovation skills. Just because your mindset isn't where it should be, it doesn't mean to say that your innovation skills are not right up there. Okay? And then get them all to come along tomorrow. Then send them all a little message with the new assessment and so on. We do this every single day for 4 or 5 days, and then we get them to the stage where we say, okay, how did you score overall? And we might get them to draw a little graph so they can see that it's up and down, that they're brilliant in one area but not so hot in another. And then we would talk about that's perfectly normal to have skills that are high in one area and not high in another. But how would they feel if we brought all of those skills up? And then we would get into pitch mode. So then we would talk them through how they could buy the program, what the investment was. You've got them on the live stream, so you can say, what do you think is holding you back from getting this right now? And they can tell you. They can say, oh, I don't think I'll be able to do it. And you say, okay, are you prepared to commit 30 minutes a day or whatever it is that you're doing? And you can get them to the place where they're considering it based on the merits rather than what they're thinking and how they've behaved in the past. So that's how I would do it. And you guys are awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. And I have another question. How is this product different from Success Mindset for Entrepreneurs? It is a completely different course. So I'm actually going to, this one is about growth versus fixed mindset, whereas this is about a CEO mindset. So I was just going to try and pull that up. Oh, my sound's out of sync again. Of course it is. So I'm just going to switch over to the screen. There. So the success mindset one, let me find my mouse here. Where's my mouse gone? Oh, look at that. We put that on sale at the same time. I didn't even remember that. So this one is about transforming your mindset to achieve entrepreneurial success. So this is really fixed versus growth mindset, moving past the limiting mindset. So if you just go through some of the module descriptions, I think you'll see what the difference is. You look at why you have that fixed mindset, how to reframe your thoughts. There is some of that crossover. You're talking about the difference between a mindset of an employee versus an entrepreneur and some of the sources of that. But in the Think Like a CEO, we really go into the skill set and stuff, the how to make decisions. So it's how to transform your mindset to an entrepreneur. And then there's transforming to a CEO mindset. So there's a little bit of a difference there. What are some of the sources for that limiting mindset? Let me see what else I'm looking at. This is characteristics of an entrepreneur and reframing, whereas Think Like a CEO is characteristics of a CEO mindset. So they are different, very different courses with a little bit of overlap because they're both about growth as well. All right, I hope that explains it. But they're a nice complement too, because if you have people who are just starting out and are really at the very beginning stage where they're having difficulty just even being an entrepreneur, getting started, then that success mindset one is very good to get started with. And if there's somebody who is at that point and are stuck in their startup and not moving forward, you can look at the Think Like a CEO. So one can follow the other in a whole curriculum with starting a business and starting the marketing, stuff like that. So there's so many options here. You need to look at who your audience is and where they are stuck and where they want to head in order to decide which courses are going to be the best ones for you. And we actually have a whole blog post on designing a curriculum, which I'm hoping will help with that as well. All right. And Jane is saying, yes, they work well together. I put that earlier. I would merge them. Yep. You could start out with, okay, entrepreneur mindset, and then how you're going to move from entrepreneur to CEO. Those are the phases in your business and the mindset that you have to work on. That makes sense? Okay. And I think are there any other questions in here? I'll just take a quick look back through because we're coming up on our 1 hour mark here, which I try and stick to. Peter, I will make sure I make a note about adding some blog posts on the topic the next time we do a blog post email bundle. I think we got everything. Did I miss anything, Sarah?
No, I think we've got everything, but I think the assessments and the worksheets and how it all comes together is a really nice interactive course, whether you deliver it live or whether you record it and deliver it in phase stages. It's one of those really versatile, really agile courses that can get great results for your clients.
Yep. But please do try and check it out right away because this is only going to last for a few days. The sale price, that launch price, the bonus sales page copy, and that other bonus, Thrive Quiz, are only for a few days, and the discount on the expansion pack. So I'm not going to come back on camera here because I can see that I'm still out of sync, I think. Let me try one more time. Okay. Wait, I'm waving now. You can't see me. All right, that's it. I'm not going to show you me anymore. All right, so everybody take a look. If you have any questions, add them here. You can also send them into our support desk, and Fiona will see them, and she's helped out a lot. She is a key member of my team. And let me just put that in case you don't see it. That is the support@contentsparks.com if you do have questions. Or if you're a customer, we have the customer Facebook group where you can ask questions, or just comment here as well. Okay, and that's it for today. Can't wait to hear what you guys all think about it. All right, take care now. Bye.